Um, First of all, Lucia, I'll check the time, but please warn me if I exceed my 8 minutes, if I may.
Sure.
Hello again. In this 8 minutes, I'll try to walk you through one of the fact sheets prepared in the acting project. So as Lucia has already expressed, early in the presentation, I thought giving some contextual background information about the fact sheet can be meaningful. So it focuses, the fact sheet focuses on food security in a broader term and the availability, accessibility, and the consumption of healthy, nutritious, safe, affordable, environmentally friendly, and sustainable food in a narrower terms. So we should consider the recommendations in the fact sheet in relation to the farm to fork strategy, which is at the heart of the Green Deal, the European Green Deal. So while the goal is to achieve just ecological transitions that leave no one behind, and I guess this can also be considered as the right to food for everyone, inequalities emerged, as Lucia already introduced, in the context of Green Deal policy and interventions, especially in the lives of the marginalized and vulnerable people. So given the context, in alleviating poverty and supporting inclusive and sustainable development and transition, the project acting in this fact sheet as well, keep vulnerable groups in their center and build around insight and knowledge that they act as key actors in managing such transitions, transitioning to a transformative food system that is fair, resilient, affordable, and sustainable. And all of these are also done by a gender plus intersectional perspective, shedding light on networks and solidarity groups that marginalized and vulnerable people collectively form, and sometimes with other bottom-up initiatives to address the issues they face. So you can see the title of the fact sheet in the very first slide, and it includes recommendation to policymakers to mitigate the negative impacts of Green Deal policies, which I and Lucia have already outlined and mentioned. And I would like to also mention that this fact sheet came out of a work package that we as researchers are all part of, along with Yellow Window and contributions from the Acting Consortium. And the seed of this fact sheet were sown in Open Studios in early March of 2020, where action-oriented analysis of the first research results of the project initiated a collective brainstorming and co-creating process, bringing together multiple kinds of expertise and collective research. But I, again, want to underline that the authors of this fact sheet, we have two authors, Nikita Sharma from European Citizen Science Association from Germany, and Caroline Zerol, I hope I pronounced her surname correct, from Örebro University in Sweden. So I think now is a good time to move on with the acting findings from the first research cycle. So as you can see also on the slides, based on 410 narratives collected related to food and transport, the Acting Project Consortium, consisting of 13 European partners, concludes that access to environmentally friendly food is largely connected with urban food systems, and which we can maybe name some of these systems later on the other slides, but we can say that these systems operate at different levels, such as where the food comes from, how it is distributed and utilized, and why and how and for whom these systems create food security or insecurity, and healthy or unhealthy eating habits. And again, connected with mobility issues, such as traveling, the traveling distance of food, transportation of food, and physical access to food for people. And I would like to just to name some. The fact sheet suggests four main key observations from the research. One major hindering factor to changing eating habits is the lack of proximity to stores or lack of knowledge of where to find and access stores that sell environmentally friendly food. And the other, the second one, a lack of public transport in areas where vulnerable people live, even in some areas of the big cities like the peri-urban parts. And a lack of access to supermarkets is another major barrier that was observed and recorded as a result of the research in acting. And the informants also suggested that eating seasonal, locally produced food is quite time consuming because fewer stores offer such products, and when they're available, they are quite expensive and they have difficulty to find and identify among other, let's say, unsustainable options. And in addition, many people also have to visit. I mean, they also explain that they have to visit several stores to find the product they need because of the lack of choice and variety available in the stores. So the last one, I mean, the other fundamental barriers to behavioral change are available, and you can see a very short list at the last item. But as you can see, lack of family support, for example, in cooking and shopping in particular, and also a lot of narratives included intergenerational support and solidarity when it comes to taking care of the family and the food and the kitchen. Another barrier, community networks and access to land in terms of garden and allotments used for cultivation, or farmer markets were mentioned where food is directly sold by farmers to consumers. I can't move on to the next slide. Oops, okay. But as opposed to, or in addition to all these major barriers or hindering factors, informants of the narratives emphasize the importance of local food systems and specifically street markets, because they provide the citizens not only cheaper, but also fresher, seasonal and local produce. And they also mentioned small market stores because they are close by and easy to reach them on a food distance, especially when you think of the increasing gas prices in 2020 and still continuing. And in some other regions, using urban gardens to grow one's food was found to be a common practice to counteract the increasing food prices and the food insecurity. Okay, so lastly, when we come to the policy recommendations, I'll try to explain to you 8 policy recommendations. Yes, 8 policy recommendation. And the first recommendation is, as you can see on the slide at the very top, make it obligatory for supermarkets to create a supply of local, seasonal, and organic products. So in reshaping the food systems, it's important to ensure supermarkets have a quota to offer more locally and seasonally grown organic or ecological products so that people will not have to spend more traveling time to find them. So the second recommendation the fact sheet offers us is to include schemes to support community-led local initiatives. So what are these community-led local initiatives? We can create a list by adding, for example, community-supported agriculture, CSA, communal allotments that enable people to grow food together, and also land garden share systems that bring together people who have land and with people who want to grow food, and food producer cooperatives and food hubs that collectively buy produce from producers and wholesalers to distribute among their members. So they all increase the food systems resilience locally by encouraging food production near its consumption, near the people who consume it. And by doing this, they shorten the supply chains and provide broader access to food, make small scale agriculture more viable, and strengthen local food producers and networks and the relationship between the producers and the consumers. And sustain sustained financial incentives for urban farming and for farmers to transition to organic farming was also additionally recommended. So the third one is to facilitate access to information where people can find nutritious, environmentally sustainable, and affordable food in their neighborhoods. So establishing online platforms and databases about selling points can obviously, and recommended that they can inform people where to find local, seasonal, organic food. And this should also be accompanied by campaigns that raise awareness about local farmers markets and direct to consumer food distribution initiatives.
Burcu, one more minute.
How many minutes? Pardon.
1 minute. 1 minute.
Okay, 1 minute. So the fourth one is to promote farmers market in marginalized areas and make space for the sale of local produce. So it's obvious that more space should be allocated based on the fact sheet. It's recommended to allocate more space to farmers, small-scale food producers, and other sellers of local and regional and ecological food products. And this should also include streamlining regulatory processes and reducing bureaucratic hurdles for the small-scale food producers when setting up more local farmer markets in the region. And the last four, establishing urban gardens in low-income areas because that will create immediate access to gardening spaces. And this can also be accompanied by financially supported educational programs for individuals in food cultivation. And in the long run, this fosters a culture of self-sufficiency and sustainability within the communities. And extend the concept of the 15-minute city to peri-urban areas. So the 15-minute city concept is based on the idea that everyone should have access to basic daily needs within a short walk or bike ride. So as the fact sheet suggests, the reach of this concept should be expanded to include the peri-urban areas where it would benefit many families and seniors and other marginalized people. And the last two recommendations, prioritize local and seasonal food in public procurement because public actors play as role models and they spend a lot of money on procuring food and other products. So this can and should play a key role in promoting sustainable food consumption and production patterns, especially thinking of the school children when they are presented food that includes healthy and sustainable ecological produce. And the last recommendation is to reflect environmental impacts on prices. So despite dramatic increases in food prices all over the EU, current prices do not reflect the environmental cost of food. So introducing a price scheme that realistically reflects the environmental costs of food seems urgent, and it can be done through a tax related to food miles, related to food miles, water consumption, and pesticide use. And lastly, organic certifications are quite expensive to obtain, especially for the small-scale family farmers. So this also requires more scrutiny and transformation regarding the whole process and the price of the process. So thank you.
Thank you, Burcu. Thank you so much. So questions for Burcu, please write them down and hold on as we are going now to, we're moving on to Filippo's presentation.
In my presentation, of course, I will present the activities of our team of Pervolarides of Thessaloniki. Pervolarides means gardeners because the team started from a gardening project 10 years ago. And then we can try to connect the activities with the policy recommendations about access to food for the vulnerable and the marginalized people. So please, next slide. Okay. Our intention is to provide a holistic approach responding to people's needs based on two pillars. First pillar is the emergency response for marginalized and vulnerable people with the supply of hot meals, fresh fruits and vegetables, plus non-food items. Second pillar involves the activation of the social solidarity economy model with informal education provision and community empowerment activities. Our circle of activities is food reclamation, cooking, food process, gardening, workshops for community awareness, peace building and empowerment, cooperation with schools, and connection with like-minded organizations from Greece and abroad. So we reclaim food, dry foods, fruits, vegetables, fish from different sources, like the central grocery market, supermarkets, street markets, fish shops, farmers. We cook for people in need, for families, for individuals, for the homeless. And we also do many workshops for food process and food preservation, like tomato sauce, marmalade, pickles, pies. And we try to do all this with the people that we help, because we try not to distinguish between the members of the team and the broader community, because we want people to feel like they are part of a broader community that helps them, and also the people that we help provide some of their resources to the team so that we can spread more the solidarity net. So gardening. We cultivate raised beds in a shelter for Roma minors. We make use of the basic permaculture techniques, such as water collection management, composting from the leftovers of our food reclamation activities, hugelkultur, and we use local varieties such as plants and seeds. These are some photos from our activities. In the left picture, you can see the gardening activity that takes place next to the minor shelter. And in the right picture, you can see a seed bombing activity that took place in the school of the Roma children. We also provide workshops for community awareness. We collaborate with a group of young boys and girls with special needs and their teachers. We provide workshops on food processing, cultivation, seed bombs preparation. We participate in events organized by various groups on circular economy, food saving, etc. And in general, our mission is to bring happiness to all human beings, animals, and natural environment, and to train ourselves and the community we support to the art of solidarity. And in the right picture, you can see Sofia, Sofia Silverton, when she visited Thessaloniki. Cooperation with schools. This is an activity that we are very proud of. We started cooperating with schools around 3 years ago. We implement social awareness programs related to food saving. School children visit the central grocery market and the local street market for food reclamation activities. We'll help students bake their own fruit puddings made from reclaimed bread and fruits. We provide technical consultancy to create, to maintain, and to use composting sites inside the school premises. We also provide reclaimed fruits and vegetables to students in an evening technical school. Students learn how to safely process food, and in return, they provide us with marmalade, tomato sauce, pesto, etc., to be used in our social kitchen. We also have a small accommodation program because in the beginning I told you that we have a holistic approach to the community, and we have a short-term accommodation for people in need. And one of the persons that was accommodated there is a young boy from Pakistan, who is also a member of our team. So we are happy to announce that he managed to find his own place to live, and now he has his own life and of course his own work. He works and he is independent, but still he participates in our activities. We also organize case study visits for exchanging ideas on different projects. Starting from 2019, many team members visited similar but also different projects in Germany and Denmark for cooperative housing and social solidarity economy projects. We provide workshops on justice and urban sustainability. Our intention is that participants will become familiar with basic ideas on justice and sustainability, and they will try to apply these ideas to their own neighborhoods or cities. These are some photos of the specific workshops. This is another set of workshops for sustainable cities, keys to sustainable cities. This was actually based on the leaflets that we got from you, Lucia, from Urban Community, because that was, you know, the motivation to do something similar, but, you know, more adapted to Greek context. And now campaigns. We participated in two major campaigns. One was to open again the public springs in Thessaloniki because the public springs are closed, and especially during the heat of the summer, people need to buy all the time plastic bottles, which means plastic consumption and financially is not sustainable. And the other campaign that we participated was against the privatization of the public water company. And yes, so some moments of our team. Thank you very much. And allow me to have some comments. We have the education and the community activities on inclusion and integration and the usage of green spaces are some answers to the problems that we try to address today. And also workshops for community awareness and case study visits of different or similar projects is also a way to address the issues, to get the good practices, to speak about challenges and successes. And last but not least, especially in the Greek context, we need to run campaigns either focused on schools or focused on neighborhoods or focused on the municipality authorities to address the lack of access for vulnerable and marginalized people to safe food. So this is my first set of presentation.
Thank you, Philippos.